Record on that. Okay. Good morning. Good afternoon if you're watching this in the afternoon, and good evening if you're watching this at night. We're going to go over some good stuff today. Here comes Dr. Angie. Before we get started, I want to make sure I'm live everywhere. I want to be live. And if you are watching this on YouTube, be sure to like our YouTube channel and hit the little bell so that you get an announcement every time we go live. So what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about the 4 parts of a healthy marketing plan. And, you know, I had a really good conversation last night with the owner of a very big publication company within the chiropractic world, and they are going to become content partners, which is so huge. And he was saying to me, there's really nothing like this in chiropractic, let alone the other healing slash wellness, you know, professions out there. I just want to go ahead and mute Dr. Angie. Good morning, Dr. Angie. Don't take it personally. And he was saying that it's, you know, soup school is kind of like the finishing school for people who want to run their own practice, because these are systems that I wasn't taught in chiropractic school 20 years ago. And from what I hear, they're still not teaching this stuff, let alone teaching how to create a marketing plan for the woman in practice who doesn't have staff or who is looking to automate their systems. So that's what we're going to focus on today. We're going to focus on bringing creativity to your marketing plan. Last week, we talked about some of the moving pieces of a creative marketing plan. This week, we're going to talk about the 4 parts of a creative marketing plan. And I use the word creative very heavily here because I want this to totally float your boat. I want you to get excited when you sit down to create a marketing plan. I don't want it to be like pulling teeth. I don't want it to be a chore that doesn't feel good, that doesn't spark joy for you. And if it is that, then it needs to be something that's delegated, because there can't be any yuck energy anywhere near your marketing plan. I hope that that makes sense to you. If you've been playing in our playground lately, I know that that makes sense to you. So I'm just looking one more time to make sure I'm live where I want to be, and to make sure that I can answer any questions that come up. These are the important things that we need to do when we go live. Oh, by the way, my Soup School students, you're also going to you're going to get the tools to do this kind of thing, to go live, to put little words on your videos, to create a funnel out of your live video. These are all things that we do in the Soup Marketing Academy Part 2. So here we go. Let's get into it. And then we have some really fun announcements at the end of this video. So this is just a really quick note. Right? So what I want you to do, if you're playing along right now, I want you to take a blank sheet of paper and I want you to fold it in 4. So just do this and then do this. Go ahead and do that. I'm going to wait for you here. Okay. And then unfold the paper. And in the top left, you're going to write internal events. We're going to talk about each one of these. The top Here you're going to write internal procedures. Here you're going to write internal events. Internal events, internal procedures. External events, external procedures. So you've got 4 areas on your paper: internal events, internal procedures, external events, external procedures. This is going to turn into this. So you can go and you can spend $10 at TJ Maxx or Home Goods or Walmart or your local Hallmark, whatever floats your boat. This is what I call a shopportunity, y'all, right? Go get a calendar that has space to write on it, and it'll end up looking like this, okay, by the time I'm done with your brain. So what you're going to do, you have a paper now and it's got 4 quadrants, and we're going to go through each of them. And what I want you to do while we're talking is I want you to take notes on each area. And then we're gonna go to part B. Okay, so let's talk internal events. So your marketing plan is broken up into two components, your inside stuff and your outside stuff. Your inside stuff is the stuff that you literally do in your office to keep your clients happy and to keep your shediggles together in practice. That's your internal stuff. Your external stuff is the stuff you do outside of your office, the physical building of your office, to keep your shediggles together and to get people to come in, to get people to know your brand, to get people to become familiar with you. The goal for all our superstars, and if you don't know, if you're in this group, you are a superstar, SEWP star, right? So the goal for our superstars is for you to go to the supermarket, supermarket, and when you're in line at the supermarket, you see Sally Smith, who is on the PTO with you, and she says to you, you know, Doc, I see you everywhere I go. Then you know you're doing it right. If people say to you, I see you everywhere I go, then you know you're doing it right. You know, Doc, every time I go on Facebook, I see something that you're doing. And you guys are starting to see that coming from me for all things Soup School. Everything that I do, everything that I teach you, I'm doing myself. I'm doing it for my practice, Light Source Chiropractic, and I'm doing it for Soup School. You're going to start noticing that I show up in all of these feeds. I show up here and I show up there. I want to turn you into the person who shows up for all things chiropractic, for all things massage, for all things therapy, whatever your craft is. It starts with a healthy quadrant, a healthy marketing plan. So let's go for it. So internal events, we're going to go through each one of these, and on the paper that you just folded, if you didn't fold the paper, please go grab a piece of paper and fold it in four. I'm going to wait for a second. Go grab a piece of paper and fold it in four. So let's start with internal events. Your internal events are the events that you have in your office to keep your current clients happy. Right? It also could very well, that your internal events could very well act as a bridge for your current clients to refer people into your office. It could be, and always within compliance, always, always, always within compliance. You have to check with your state to see what you're allowed to give away for free and what you're not allowed to give away for free and what you have to write on your advertisements. These are things that are really important, right? So internal events are going to be things like promotional events, or can you guess how many jelly beans are in the jar? Or I don't know, something like guess the doctor's birth date, or guess her age, or here comes Dr. Jane's birthday. Can you guess how old she is? And the person who guesses wins A, B, and C. But again, you have to find out what you're allowed to do that with. What are you allowed to give away in a promotion? Other internal events would be things like asking your current client base to give you a testimonial, to leave a testimonial on your desk. Asking your current client base to rate you on Google, to give you a Google rating. Asking your current client base to think during the month of February is all about love, to think about one person who could benefit from your care. These are internal events, okay? That's the one quadrant. So write those notes there. Internal procedures, let's go there. Your internal procedures are going to do the things that you do on a regular basis. This is where checklists, for my superstars, think your Soup School content. This is where Checklist Haven comes into play. We give you all of the checklists you need to keep this stuff moving forward. So your internal procedures are going to be things like dotting your I's and crossing your T's with your accounts receivable. Not really a marketing thing, but still energy coming into the practice. Internal procedures are going to be your recall program, like reaching out to people you haven't seen in a while. Internal procedures are going to be things like asking your practice members for a testimonial or a referral on their 10th visit, or what Dr. Rosen calls table talk, where you on the fifth visit, here comes Cindy, the fifth visit, the 10th visit, and the 15th visit, or the fifth visit, the 15th visit, and the 30th visit, you give an educational piece to your practice member, right? So that would be an internal procedure. You have to write down the internal procedures that work for your practice. There's nothing worse, nothing is worse than having a coach say to you, this is what you need to say to your practice members, when it really doesn't resonate with you to say that to your practice members. So these are things that you need to do because they spark joy for you, because they feed your ideal client, right? Because they feed your vision of success. And these are all things that we're going to come up with together through the Soup School journey. So that's internal procedures. It could also be meeting, if you do have staff, meeting with your team once a week. It could be reviewing your mission statement. You know, when I was, this is huge, you guys. When I was new in practice, I studied with a gentleman called, his name is Arnaud Bernier, and he's one of the most brilliant teachers in all of chiropractic. And we went to something called a boot camp. And the boot camp was in Colorado. It was the kind of thing where we would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go for a 3-hour hike and do like 50 push-ups and, you know, all these crazy things. These days, it's not so crazy because CrossFit is a huge part of my reality. But at the time, it was crazy. And he would teach us to go into our office 30 minutes early or an hour early and do squats, do push-ups, and do sit-ups, and see my practice filled with people. That is a beautiful internal procedure. It's a ritual. It's a ritual for my practice to feed the current clients that I have in my office. If I don't take the time to prep for my shift, I lose it a little bit, right? I'm disoriented. I may not remember to give an educational piece to a practice member who it was really important to give. Take the time to take the time to take the time, please. That's internal procedures. External events. You know, external events are a little bit tricky right now because of all the stuff going on. So these are things that you can do using social media. If social media freaks you out, trust that our part 2 of our Soup Marketing Academy is all about how to make social media user friendly. The difference between a Facebook group and a Facebook page, how to take a video like the one that I'm doing right now and create what we call a landing page with it that goes into a click funnel, that goes into an email campaign. These are all things that you can do now because people are home. People are home on Facebook. They're looking for their next thing. They're looking to get healthy. There's never been a better time ever in the history that I've been on the planet to get people excited about getting healthy because fear is a great motivator. Unfortunately, it is, right? So there's a lot of fear out there. And I know that you guys know this. This is a great time to educate people about how they can get healthy, independent of what your craft is. If you're a nutrition person, if you're a chiropractor, this is the time to be on social media saying, hey, guess what? I have tools that are going to help your health. I have tools that are going to support your nerve system. Get on social media. Even if you feel like you're not talking to anybody, even if you feel like you're talking to your computer screen, get on social media. Get practice with it. If you want to practice in our superstar room, if you're a soup student, come on in the superstar room and just say, hey guys, I'm practicing with this right now. We would love to give you feedback. So that's external events. They're going to be the events that get the outside community into your space, into your playground. They may not make it to your office for 5 years, but they're still, your name is on their mind when they think of the dentist or when they think of the chiropractor or the acupuncturist, because they saw you. If they don't see you, you're not going to be on their mind. I hope that that makes sense to you. So that's external events. When we're not in like quarantine land Another really great external event would be a dinner out, a dinner with the doc. We used to call it Dinner for Dinnermen, and I have a whole program written about it. So when the world goes back to the new normal, if it does, then dinner with a doc would be a really good thing if you are a doctor and you run a practice, and we can teach you all of the things you need to do with that. But come up with some fun and make sure that they're fun. If joy is one of your core values, and listen, by the way, if you don't know what your core values are, run right now and get a seat to Zoom school. You need to know what your core values are. And if you're one of my students, it's in the very first module, the Superstar Toolkit. You need to know what your core values are so that you know what your mission statement is. If you know what your mission statement is, you're coming from the same place every time you put effort forward for building your practice. External procedure. So of all of the things that can be delegated in the marketing plan, external procedures is probably the top one. The external procedures are things like dropping off goodie bags to your affiliate partners. Again, make sure that you're allowed to do this in your state. I know that that might sound silly, but there are laws about this stuff. Other external procedures would be hanging your flyer in the local coffee shop once a month, making sure that your flyer is still there. If you don't put your flyer up, how are they going to know about you? Do you know how many companies and friends and practitioners I have found out about going into my local coffee shop and looking at the board? They still exist. The local coffee shops and the boards and the papers that hang on them, people are still looking at those boards. Other external procedures would be something like hooking up with Terry at Social Media Marketing and getting a Facebook campaign going for your local community, for your avatar, for your ideal client. That would be an external procedure. It's something that you do systemically on a routine basis outside of your office to get people aware of your brand and to bring them into your office. So that's external procedure. So let's just go through it a couple more times. I want to give you examples for each. We're going to revisit each category. If you guys have any, hi Carolina, if you guys have any questions, I can see you watching in Facebook. Hi guys, go ahead and post your questions in the comment in Facebook, or if you want to post a comment in our chat room. Here's the secret, you guys, our Zoom room never changes. It's always the same call. So you can always go into our Zoom room, and I'm actually going to post it here just in case you do want to meet us in the Zoom room, to join us in the Zoom, and then you can hop on and actually talk to us. I'm just going to get that open here. Hold on one second. Copy. Every week we have our practice practicals, which is what this video is, and they are always, there's always an invite to you through Facebook, and there's also always a link in our events tab in this Facebook group. Okay, I just posted it. So if you have questions, hit me up. So let's go through it again. We're going to start with internal events. Internal events in my office, this is our for example, there's Dr. Carolina. Internal events is going to look like in my office. Once a quarter, I ask people to grade me on all of the social media channels, and I give them quick links to do that. Grade me, what does that mean? Leave me a Google review, leave me a Facebook review, leave me a Yelp review. And again, I have a page on my website that's very easy to find, and I'll send a link out, I'll e-blast it out, I'll text it out with our texting program, and I'll ask them to leave me a review, because these days that's a big deal. If your reviews are awesome and you want to have a lot, you want to have at least 100 reviews for your practice. If you don't, start working on that now. Make that an internal event. We're having a review party or a review challenge, and whoever leaves us the most reviews, like here, 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 and here, you get to, I don't know, get to go out for dinner with Dr. Caroline. However you want to do it, just make sure you're being compliant. So that's internal events. Another internal event would be, back in the day, I used to have Bring a Friend Day. Hopefully that will happen again sometime soon, where on a Saturday morning, people could bring in one friend or family member to get a free spinal health check. And you have to put the dollar value on the advertisement, all of these things to be compliant. And Robin teaches us all of that in Soup School. Those are internal events. Another internal event would be handing out a rose to all of the moms on Mother's Day, handing out a box of chocolate to all of the dads on Father's Day. It really depends on who your ideal client is. You want to feed and fuel your ideal client. If you don't know who your ideal client is, please grab your seat to Soup School now. Internal procedures, again, in my office, these look like recalls, which now takes me all of 10 minutes to do. I did it yesterday in my office. Just reach out to the people you haven't seen in a while. The Jane app makes that really easy to do. Again, it took me 10 minutes. I used to have somebody working about 15 hours a week on my recall program, and it doesn't need to be that complicated, guys. It can be a quick text saying, hey, it's Dr. Carolina. I don't know why I'm picking on you, Carolina. Hey, it's Dr. Carolina. I'm thinking of you. Make sure your texting program is HIPAA compliant. That's another internal procedure. Another internal procedure would be once a quarter, go through your file cabinet if you have paper files and clean it out. That is I cannot tell you how important that is. And I promise you, every time we do this, the phone starts ringing in the office. Another internal procedure would be to change the message on the recording every day. Say something cute, say something love-filled. Another internal procedure would be to send your practice members a love text once every 3 weeks. Just because, from me, it'll sound something like, hey, it's Dr. Jodi. I just want you to know how much I appreciate you. Or, hey, it's Dr. Jodi. I want you to know that I know you have a choice in healthcare providers, and it's the honor of my lifetime that you chose me. That's a love text, and we give you all of that in Soup School. External events, let's go there. Again, external events are going to be a little tricky right now. Your go-to is going to be social media. Unless you're in a part of the world where people are congregating, they're getting together, and they're not freaked out about anything. If that's not true for you, my suggestion is that you hit up Terry from Social Media Marketing. I will put her link here in the Facebook group when I post this video. She's incredible. You can also find her at the footer of all of my pages on my website, stafflesspractice.com. So what she'll do is she'll create a whole plan for you, for your practice, to go on social media, share your message with the world. If you're not clear on your message, A, get your seat to Soup School yesterday. B, she's going to help you figure it out and get clean with it. And then when she starts sending out all of those ads to social media world, her team actually catches the people who respond to the ads and does what we need to do with those people. Really incredible service, really fair price. External procedures, let's go there one more time. In my office, this looks like hanging the flyers, dropping off my business cards. I put a lot of love into my affiliate partners. I want them to know what's an affiliate partner. Let's go there. An affiliate partner is a practitioner or a business or a teacher or a mentor in your area who serves the same ideal client base as you. You form a relationship with them and you nourish that relationship because it's key to the success of your practice. So a large part of my external procedures is going to be affiliate care. On my list of affiliate partners, I have midwives, OBGYNs, doulas, lactation consultants, family therapists, health food store owners, health food store team members, meditation teachers, yoga teachers, because my ideal client goes to all of those practitioners and businesses. So I formed these relationships, and really those relationships will naturally happen just by you hanging your sign on the shingle and opening your doors. People will come and knock on your door and say, hey, I'm the doctor down the street. I'd love to support you in your efforts. It's going to happen. You're going to find your people. If you're new in practice, hang tight. If if you've been around a while, if you've been around as long as I have or longer, and this is not happening, there's something that needs to change. You need to change the vibe that you're putting out there, and I know that sounds airy fairy, but I swear to God, you guys, it's true. You need to change your vibe, or you need to clean up your systems. I'm going to end with this thought. I remember when I was new in practice, I graduated from Sherman College and I drove, it was like a 10-hour drive back to New Jersey. And I had like all the hopes and dreams of creating such great success for myself and my family that I would one day create. And here I am 20 years later. And I remember going to having an interview for an associateship, right? And I didn't want to work for anybody. It just isn't my cup of tea. I've never been someone who works for somebody well. I do things my own way and I march to the beat of my own drum. But I also wanted to check out my options. So I remember driving like an hour to up north New Jersey, and I went to visit this old chiropractor. At that time, he was old. He was probably my age now. But I remember walking into his office, and his office was in a basement, and it smelled like wet clay, like mildew. And the stuff on the walls were like water stained and dirty. His tables were tables that I would never want to lie on. They didn't look clean. He was disheveled. He had dandruff all over his shirt. There's nothing wrong with having dandruff. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is the impression. The biggest thing I remember is the smell, right, of his office. And I thought to myself, I didn't go to school for 10 plus years to spend my days here. I know that I didn't do that. And thank God that was the situation that I walked into, because it had to be that drastic for me to know what the antithesis of that was, which in my opinion is my office today. It's the happiest place on the planet. So my point is that if you fuel this correctly, you're gonna create a practice that's filled with vibrancy and life and light, and you're gonna attract that to your office. You're gonna attract people who want what you have, and they're clear about what you have because your branding has delineated that very well. If you don't clean your stuff up and do stuff like this, you're going to attract a whole lot of chaos, y'all. And if people text you or call you throughout the day, and the people on the other end of the phone they are people who you want to serve, that's a confirmation that you're doing something right. If you're attracting a whole lot of craziness, like just crisis and craziness, this is for people who don't want to attract that. I completely recognize that there are people who want to work with people in crisis, and I think that that's beautiful. If that's not what you want and that's what's calling your phone, you have to check what you're doing. You have to double click. You know, I always say to my practice members when they come in and say, gee, Jodi, my back is really hurting today, my saying to them is, please double click into your symptoms so that you can make sense of them. Backtrack into your symptoms. If I have a headache, I have to know, when did the headache start? Did I hydrate my body? Did I eat sugar? Did I work out that day? And then, aha, that's why I have the headache. The same is true for your practice. If your practice is in a place that it's subluxated or stuck or not going the way that you want, you have to look at what you're doing. You do what you do and you get what you get. So I'm going to end it with that. 4-part marketing plan. Check. Any questions before I log off? I'm looking at Facebook if you have questions. I'm looking in our chat room if you have questions. I don't see any questions. I will see you guys on the next live. Hang tight in our group. If you are not yet a superstar, a soup student, send me a message and let's have a conversation about what Soup School is all about. We always start with a conversation to make sure that you're a fit for what we're doing and we're a fit for what you need. I'm loving you so much from here, y'all.